G'day everyone, Viv here. I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome back to my channel. Still in the process of getting the Saga tutorials filmed and edited and uploaded. Then we've got some how to build Saga scenery, Dark Ages scenery. The little huts that I showed several videos back. Different methods for doing thatching and all that sort of stuff. But I heard last night Dread Lunn mention force on force. This is a wonderful rule set. I love it, and I've been wanting to do videos on it for more than a year now. You may have seen my Afghans that I posted over a year ago now. They were great fun to paint. My US Marines, which you would have seen in one of the Saga videos, are pretty much complete. So he spoke about wanting to have a look at force on force. Now this is a rule set published by Ambush Alley Games and published by Osprey. And if you know Osprey, they make amazing historical books and reference books and quality all round. Now the Force on Force rulebook is a quality rulebook. It's hardcover, it's full color. It's kind of a smallish rulebook in comparison to many of the regular size books, which is nice. It's nice just to sit down and be able to flip through and read it. It's not a massively big book. So the Force on Force rule set is basically it's called Modern Wargaming Rules. Now the rulebook does mention that you could use it pretty much from anything from World War II onwards. I mean, it's got all the weapons and all that sort of stuff in the rulebook. So I know a lot of people are talking about bolt action, and I'll also be picking up bolt action shortly. But for me, a lot of the mechanics in bolt action are kind of done already. It's kind of just a remake of 40k in some senses, with a couple of small minor differences, where Force on Force is completely different again from many games that I've played. Part of the reason why I love it. Saga's different than a lot of games that I've played. Part of the reasons why I love it. Way back in the day, Malifaux was different than any games that I played, and so I got into it. But Force on Force, there are a whole bunch of supplements, expansions for the Force on Force. I don't have the most recent one, Fallujah, but Road to Baghdad, that's the Iraq campaign in 2003, Enduring Freedom, that's Afghanistan, 2001 to 2010, Day of the Rangers, Black Hawk Down, Somalia in 1993, Ambush Valley, this is the Vietnam campaign, and then a kind of a different supplement called Cold War Gone Hot, which is, they call it World War III in 1986. I know a few people who play this. I've never played it. I've read through the book, and it's really interesting. It's an alternative history sort of game. So I heard Mithril talk about, in her response to Dread Lunn a couple of days ago, about the uncomfortableness or the inability for her to be able to see past a historical game as only recreating certain engagements. So for example, if I'm playing American Civil War, then I'm playing a battle from the American Civil War, rather than just sort of I'm using American Civil War period muskets and early stage rifles as a different sort of battle. She had trouble seeing through that, but alternate histories, she said she could sort of let slip and sort of made plays. So Cold War Gone Hot may interest her. It's alternate Cold War. So Russians and Americans in, like I said, World War III. So Force on Force, I love it. It's a really interesting rule system. The mechanics are great. I want to talk about it a lot more, but as I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, still got lots of stuff to do on Saga, still got some terrain tutorials for Dark Ages scenery, still got a couple of videos that I want to film for requests that I've had before I start getting into Force on Force. Why am I uploading this video now? To ask you if you've heard about Force on Force, if you've heard about it, if you're interested in learning about it, if you'd like to see a series similar to the one on learning how to play Saga, if you play Force on Force, what sort of questions do you have? What do you like about it? I'd love to get some video responses. I don't get very many of those, so if you play Force on Force, shoot me a video response and tell me what you think about it. Anyway, more Force on Force coming up soon. We'll go through all these books. If you're interested in seeing a series, I will probably do it anyway, on learning how to play Force on Force. It'll be coming up at some stage in the future. I really appreciate everyone watching my channel and sending me comments and emails. It's always great fun to read those. If you've got questions or queries about terrain, I've had quite a few in the last week. You can shoot me an email at viv@knightsofdice.com, and I will always respond to those. I read all of my comments and try to respond to 95% of my questions. I wouldn't be here if you guys weren't watching my channel, so I really appreciate that. Thanks very much, guys. I'll catch you soon. Take care. See ya.